Did you fill out your lotto tickets? We're about to hopefully get the winning numbers, and if we do that, I think me and Ian are definitely getting lotto tickets after we go off the air. But it's draft lottery time. Join us right now here on Teal Town Live. Alrighty, everyone. Good afternoon if you're on the Pacific Coast, or good evening if you're over on the East Coast. It is June 2nd, 2021. The NHL Draft Lottery is about to get underway, and we're here to break it down for you. So welcome to Teal Town Live. This is your live interactive NHL Draft Lottery show. So if you want to be part of the show, here's how to do it. Chat with us and fellow hockey fans on the page or the app. Of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and of course find everything at tealtownusa.com. Good afternoon, everyone. I am joined by Ian Reid. Ian, how are you, bud?
Fantastic.
Excellent. This is the second time in 6 years that the Sharks will be part of the draft lottery. Ian, I know we have 6.7% chance at winning the first overall pick, but there's more than that.
Mm-hmm.
You have you can go number 2, number 7, number 8, or number 9.
Or heaven forbid 9, yeah.
Yeah. And you have a 6.7 chance at getting the first overall pick. You have a 6.9 nice pick of getting the number 2 pick. And staying at 7 or dropping down to 8th, is a combined, 79.6% chance. They told me there would be no math when we did these shows.
No.
Or the worst part is that 2 teams underneath the Sharks move ahead of them, and that's also 6.9%, which is not nice. So, but Ian, what do you see here in this draft lottery?
I mean, it's going to be interesting, right? Because obviously the Coyotes don't count. So if the Coyotes somehow get their balls to come up, they just redraw again because the Coyotes are going to forfeit their first overall pick. I feel like if Detroit wins it, I'm calling it rigged. Like, I'm doing it because this whole new format. Oh, I'm going to have a rant after all. Here we go.
Yes.
This whole new format was done because there was all this belly aching last year about the Wings getting dropped so far down in the lottery because they went for it for 25 years and it's not their fault. They never tanked. Bullshit, they never tanked. Have you seen some of the teams they put on the ice? Like, just because you couldn't see the forest for the trees and didn't start your rebuild sooner, you don't get cookies for that. But apparently, if you're the Detroit Red Wings and you go to the NHL, you do get cookies because the entire draft lottery was changed because of their bitching. Now, you could turn around and say, hey, wait a second, didn't the Sharks have, you could make this argument for the Sharks right now, right? Like, they're in this mess because they've gone for it all along.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Sharks were higher in the lottery and they didn't win, do you think anyone in the entire league is shedding a tears? No, because, the Sharks have a passionate fan base, but it's a smaller fan base, right?
Right.
Like, if we did this show for another team, our views could be as high as 4 to 5 times higher than they are now. And I'm not complaining about our views. I love our views. I love our viewers.
Thank you to 51 watching already. Please,
right?
Tell everybody, share a friend. Let's go. Let's get that 200. Why not for it? So,
right. So, but if that happened to the Sharks, do you think anyone's shedding a tear? No. The draft lottery isn't getting changed for San Jose.
Oh no.
So that's my thing. If Detroit wins, it's rigged, and I will take no further questions at this time. And I'm usually like the guy who will fight back the hardest against the it's rigged nonsense, but I mean,
but honestly, if this was we'll say San Jose or Anaheim or a team that doesn't have any clout.
Mm-hmm.
Who's are they going to change it? No, I highly doubt it. So.
No, I mean, I think I think if Buffalo wins, like, people are gonna melt down, and probably justifiably. I mean, and they have the best odds in the lottery. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
So, but I think that'll cause some people to melt down. I do like one of the changes that they did implement, and that is that you can only get two. You can win the lottery twice in the 5-year span.
Yeah, that's the Oilers rule.
And the Buffalo rule, and probably the Rangers rule at that. And I'm fine with that.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that makes sense because you don't want to keep tanking and keep tanking and keep tanking because it's just asking for, just for a nightmare throughout of this. And
Yeah.
and I'm looking on the screen here and I'm trying to see where Doug Wilson is and I didn't see him right away. So hopefully he's there. But again, here in between me and Ian is the pre-draft order. So of course the percentages you'll see up on top here. So you're going to get that going as you see on there. But honestly, again, the Rangers with the 16th, most likely the 16th pick, and they're most likely going to stay there. The Sharks are at number 7, and as we mentioned before, they either can go 1, 2, 7, 8, or 9.
Correct.
And in our poll question here on Teal Town USA's Twitter, we asked, what did you guys think? What did you think that it could be? Could it be first, second, third, fourth, or not this is first, second, seventh, eighth, or ninth? And I'm trying to pull that up here right now. And 30.
I feel like Sharks fans I feel like they all went 9th.
See, the thing you would think that. But if this was Millionaire, and you're asking the audience, you're screwed, because 23% say first overall, 21% say second overall,
There you go.
36% saying staying at 7th, and of course 20% saying dropping back to 8th or 9th. Because I mean, honestly, why not? At this point, so. And the Sharks, it's been a while. I think they picked, if they were to move down to 9th, I think the last time they picked 9th was when they got Timo Meyer, correct? All right.
Yes.
And for, the thing.
They haven't, the last time they picked higher than 9th, it was Devin Setaguchi at 8.
And they moved up in that draft, right?
Did they trade up or did they just get this? That was at which year was the draft? No, Kuhre was the draft lottery year. So, yeah.
So they're showing off all the GMs or their lucky representatives. We're seeing Seattle right now, which has a nice office. That's very nice. New Jersey, Columbus. With John Davidson back in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
They're all on freaking Zoom calls, which is funny. Stevie Yzerman, he's like, I better get this. Oh, and there's Doug Wilson. Doug is patiently waiting in his home here in the South Bay. And among others, there's a lot of GMs that are like, what am I doing here? Am I supposed to be doing anything? Make sure I'm not picking my nose. Yeah, it's Chester Chivo. My prediction, the Sharks somehow dropped to 32. Yeah, well, that would be so Sharks if that were the case. So... And of course, one of the other things is the Seattle Kraken, officially get to come into the league, and they will know where their first pick will be at. They have the same odds as the 4th team, New Jersey, but man, it would suck if it goes 1-2 for Pacific Division teams, but.
Yeah, I mean that like I think if you want to look at like worst case scenario, I think that would be it, right? Like if LA won and moved up, because not only does LA moving up push the Sharks back one, back into that 9th position, but it also it's a 1-2 Anaheim LA. I mean both of those teams. They're not going to be scary next year, but they're well on their way to being scary very soon. And this will only hasten that. If that would be like absolute nightmare fuel, absolute worst case scenario for me is an LA, Anaheim, Seattle 1, 2, 3 pick. I mean, I guess Seattle would be 4 because they'd have to move up. But yeah, like something like that would be very problematic for me for sure.
Oh yeah, no, and of course, Arizona, if they were to be picked, 1 or 2 would require a redraw, in the sense that of some sanctions that their former GM got in trouble with. Which, I mean, do you agree? This is, he's been removed over a year from this whole, nightmare.
Yeah, I think that's like you break the rules. There's penalties to be paid, right? Now I feel like New Jersey got out from under their punishment once upon a time, but like I don't know. Like I feel like if you violate the rules, and what he did was, for those that don't know, was he basically held basically fitness things and tryouts outside of the combine, which is a big no.
Right.
You don't bring guys in for personal testing and stuff outside of the combine. That's what the combine's for. Because it's tampering. I don't know if so much it's tampering, but it's against the rules. And I mean, John Chaika, he was an easy goat for this, right? Like he's an easy scapegoat for this. Oh, the cards are coming. I saw the cards.
Yep, the cards are coming right
Freaking
now.
out, man. Freaking out. I'm glad, you know what? Honestly, though, I'm glad, like, I don't have to, like, I'm glad they're going to do the cards and I don't have to, like, squint at my screen and look at balls and then squint at my guide and try and figure out which balls are which and trying to, like, I'm glad we don't have to do it that way. I'm honestly,
Right.
I prefer this way. I really don't want to be like, okay, let me check Yield Media Guide here and see what those balls mean and try and figure it out on the screen, because it'd just be a lot of me squinting at the screen, and I don't think that'd be very fun.
Oh, come on, that'd be fun in some cases. So now, considering because Arizona forfeits their pick, we're going to begin at number 15, if I'm not mistaken. So
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. That would make sense, right?
That would make sense
because Arizona
to me.
can't pick. Yeah.
Yeah. So are they going to tease us? Oh, here we go. Here come the cards out onto the studio. This is riveting YouTube moments happening, and of course you're getting the delayed reaction, but and the cards have been delivered to Mr. Daly, and
I need to speed up my stream here.
you want me to pull back? I can pull back a little bit if you want.
No, here we go.
All right.
I see cards. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll go. I mean, if it's not like at the same time, then we'll freak out or not freak out or delayed freak out. That's fine.
Yeah. So we're gonna just attempt to adjust the graphics here, and the number 15 pick is up, and 15 goes to the New York Rangers. So no change there, man.
No change.
People
That's
would
good.
freak out if that was the case. So the Rangers, who got Lafreniere in that lucky draft with Chaos, stays at 15.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Like, I mean, the Rangers. I think the Rangers are a weird team. We talked about this on Tilton Classes on the last show, like just how surprised we were at the absolute gutting of their front office, based on what happened.
Yep. Dallas goes to number 14. So no change there just yet. And we wait with anticipation. And then Philly at 13.
I mean, this is good. I mean, this means that no one's moved ahead of the Sharks. The Sharks haven't fallen.
Right. Sharks haven't fallen yet. So that's good so far. And so we go on to number 12. And if you're ahead, do not spoil it. Calgary goes to number 12.
Yep.
So far
so good. This is exactly what you want as a Sharks fan. You don't want to get pushed down the draft board.
Right. And now we go to number 11, and number 11 pick in the draft goes to Chicago. Okay. Whew, they would celebrate with
so far so good.
They would have celebrated with another outdoor game, right?
Probably. I mean, they'll get one anyway.
Yeah. All right, we're into the top.
They'll get 3 or 4.
10. And it's
yeah,
Ottawa.
I mean, so far so good.
Please let that be Ottawa. Yep, that's Ottawa.
So far so good. Again, Sharks not moving down. That is the important thing. No one's jumped ahead.
Yep.
From this pack yet. So
right now, this is where we start seeing where the Sharks are.
Yep.
which is Ottawa. Now number 9. This is where Vancouver would be. And it is Vancouver. Stays at number 9.
There we go. So this is good. Now this is where it starts getting scary.
Yes.
This is where the nightmare starts.
Is it LA or is it San Jose? LA or San Jose. That is it. And right now, it's LA. So the Sharks will stay.
Oh, thank God.
The Sharks will stay in at least number 7. They can move up to 1 or 2.
Right. So now this is where
the Sharks are at. All right, gang. Fingers crossed, baby. And the Sharks are at number 7. All right.
Well, you know what? That's fine.
Yep.
I mean, they didn't move up, but they didn't move down. And honestly,
that's a win.
Considering the slim odds they had to move up, I will happily take it.
Yep.
I think it could have been, it could have gone worse. Like, yes, would I have liked to have moved up and grabbed one of the 2 top guys there, but it is what it is, right? It's higher than they've drafted in a long time. Not a great. I mean, obviously, this isn't like a super outstanding draft, but I think there's a lot of quality guys they can still get at 7.
Yeah. Detroit at 6, by the way.
Detroit at 6. Hey, okay, it's not rigged. There you go, guys. It is not rigged. I don't have to go on some crazy conspiracy rant, and I think that's good. I'm glad I got that out earlier. I don't usually like going into the it's rigged territory, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Columbus at number 5. And now New Jersey at number 4. And it is New Jersey at number 4. So at this moment, everything it's like we didn't have a pick. We didn't even have to do the lottery.
Pretty much.
So
it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah. So Buffalo, Anaheim, Seattle, I think they're going to take a commercial break right now.
Of course they are.
Of course. I mean, in that 3, Ian, what would be more nightmare? Anaheim,
I don't really care.
Seattle,
it's all
Buffalo?
bad. It's bad. It's all bad at this point, right? Like Seattle and Anaheim are both teams in your division. Mm-hmm. So it's not great. I mean, it's better than 3 or 4 teams. Like, it's better than it all being Pacific Division teams. I don't know. I mean,
see, to me, if Seattle gets the number 1 pick, plus they get to reap the rosters.
Yeah, but I'm interested. See, I don't know, because like I know the expansion draft was really kind to Vegas, but it was kind to Vegas because other GMs were idiots.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I feel like that does not get stated enough. How stupid the GMs were in that expansion draft.
Right.
Right? I know it's easy to say, oh, the NHL just loves Vegas and they gave Vegas everything they wanted. But the reality is that GMs were dumb and they did a lot of dumb things that going into this year before all of this happened.
Right.
I thought, well, there's no way GMs are going to be stupid like that again. But flat cap, possibly. I mean, they're saying on I think it was the last 31 Thoughts podcast that I think Elliot said something like there's questions that this could be like a 5-year flat cap. Well, in that situation, maybe GMs do stupid things again.
Right.
It could happen, right? And I can't wait. Like, I want to see what happens. I think regardless, I think expecting, like, putting the expectations on Seattle to do what Vegas did in their first year, I think unrealistic. Like, if you're a Kraken fan and you're watching this for some reason, maybe because you're jumping ship, or maybe you're just watching this because you want to see people freak out or not freak out. Temper your expectations a little. Maybe, I wouldn't call it a failed season if you're not in the Stanley Cup final in year 1.
I don't know. Let's see what $650 million gets you. $500 million gets you a Stanley Cup final in year 1.
Yeah. And I like what Kevin said in the chat here too. Like, the Sharks need to work on themselves. I don't care if Seattle gets first or Anaheim gets first. And I'm with them. Like, LA didn't jump the line. Right. That's a win. that's good for the Sharks. But I agree. Like, Seattle's going to do what Seattle's going to do. And Anaheim, like, I don't think they're as far along as the Kings, but they're not that far behind them. So, like, and so all that's already in motion, right? Like, you can't, I don't know. I don't really give a crap who gets the first pick in here, because both of those teams are going to get, Seattle's going to get a decent start because the expansion rules are probably the best they've ever been. And I know I'm going to get plenty of hate for that, but I stand by it. And here's the reason I stand by it.
Go ahead.
Look at how many teams, like Nashville tried to get sold to Hamilton. The Wild have been through like 3 owners. I mean, Columbus was in trouble for a long time until they said, maybe if they play most of the games in their own time zone, they'll actually do well.
Right.
Rocket science. Like, so I understand that people, like, especially like people that have been on this train for the long ride.
Oh, we have our first thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ian.
Yep, that's okay.
Anaheim goes to number 3, so it's now Buffalo or Seattle. Buffalo or Seattle will get the number 1 pick in this year's draft.
There you go.
Oh boy.
I will finish my thought when this is done.
Come on. Let's see what it is. Buffalo. It's Buffalo. And Seattle gets the number 2 pick in the draft.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. So basically everything went in order except for the number 2 pick.
Yeah. So I mean that's fine. I mean I think that's the way you kind of want to see it. Like I'm all for team chaos. Let me finish off my point on expansion.
Go ahead.
Though. Because like, so all those, like, having teams suck forever. I mean, some markets will bear it and some markets won't. Atlanta's no longer a thing. Right? They got moved back to Winnipeg. Like, no, well, not back to Winnipeg. They got moved to Winnipeg. So I know a lot of people don't like the expansion rules because they hate Vegas. And look, I hate the freaking Golden Knights as much as the next guy. Right? Like, but at the end of the day, like, from a business perspective, it makes sense.
Oh, yeah. No.
To do it the way they did it and to do what they're going to do with Seattle. Like, it makes sense, especially at the stupid amount of money being ponied up for these teams. $500 million, $650 million for Seattle. I'm fine with it.
Does it make you wish the Guns paid a little bit more? In 91.
The Sharks thing though, but the Sharks are weird because they're not even like they're not like a true expansion
exactly.
team.
Yeah,
they weren't a true expansion team.
Yeah, they took like at least 30 players from the then Minnesota North Stars.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like it was like a splitting of ownership. It was a weird thing that happened.
Yeah.
And they weren't even a true expansion team. But but look at some of these other expansion teams that were just awful forever. And how many, like I said, like teams that almost didn't make it. The Atlanta Thrashers didn't make it. And honestly, the NHL is lucky that they are the only ones.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, the Predators were on the verge of going to Hamilton. Again, Arizona, with the nightmare that they don't even get a pick in this first round. They've been having nightmares for years.
Right.
And we've heard, up until, most recently with like Florida and Carolina, that it's been a rough go.
Okay, so something in the chat here. Benjamin Kessel asking, what does this mean for the Sabres? They can't win the lottery? Okay, so they could win one more lottery within the next 5 years, and then they cannot win no more. You can win 2 lotteries in a 5-year span. So if they were to win again next year, they would be, for the next 5 years, they would not be able to win another lottery.
Yeah, even though they won in 2018.
It starts now. 2 and 5 started this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, it's fine. Like the Ducks dropped one, but I still think like there's like there's gonna be like the top five is gonna be really, really interesting because I'm curious if there's much of a consensus on who's gonna go in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like all those guys are still gonna get a player.
So let's talk about this here then. We can get rid of the draft lottery odds. There aren't any anymore. But, Central Scouting is saying Owen Power from Michigan. And
Yeah.
Michigan could have potentially, 3 in the top 10.
Yeah.
Along with working with Thomas Bordelot, the Sharks, what was it, a second-round pick last year? I mean, from the North American skaters, what do you look at?
See, and it's funny because they have like, I'm surprised that Central Scouting has Beniers so far down at number 6. Like, I'm surprised. I really like if I'm looking at for like, I really like Brant Clark. I think if the I think like he could be, if he's still on the board when the Sharks are picking, like that's the guy I would really like them to take.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be interesting because he played over in Europe, obviously, because the OHL didn't play this past year. So he played over in Europe, but he's still that doesn't make him, he's still a Barrie Colt. So as far as the all the rules are concerned, he's a Barrie Colt. So if he was drafted, for instance, like it would be San Jose or back to Barrie. And back to Barrie is fine, honestly. So Brant Clark would be the guy that I would like on the board, but it'll be interesting to see because, like, again, this year's draft, it's going to be really hard to have like a consensus. Like, it's most years you have an idea of who is going in what position, right? Like, you kind of have an idea of what your top 5, 6 is going to be. Honestly, I think if there's Powers at 1, I think Beniers is at 2, and I don't know after that. Like, it's a complete crapshoot after that as far as who's going to go where.
And do you think that it's almost guaranteed that that the Sharks will go defense with the number 7 pick?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when you're drafting this high, you don't draft by position. You take the best player to you on the board. But I don't think that, like, would it hurt the Sharks to grab some more defense? I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to move one of these contracts on the blue line. Right. By hook or by crook, you have to move one of these contracts on the blue line. You can't do that if you have no one to fill that spot.
Yeah, one of our fellow draft, I hate to say draft junkie, but I know Mark is into the draft. He's saying Gunther, Beniers, Hughes, or Clark are my hopes for San Jose.
Yeah. I mean, all great picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't think you have to, like, I don't think the Sharks have to go with one guy over another. I think at this point you're not drafting by position. You're going to take the best player available. I don't know who that's going to be at 7 though, because this draft is going to be wild.
And it's not necessarily a deep draft like last year was.
No, it's not. I mean, it's going to be, we've been really spoiled
yeah,
by a number of really good draft classes. We've been really spoiled. Like, I don't, like, a lot of people are saying this is a bad draft class. To me, it's just a normal draft class. Like, I don't think this is a bad draft class per se. I think we've just been spoiled by a good run of just really deep drafts.
Yeah, no, it's been one of those. It's been one of those times where we've seen deep after deep after deep, and the thing is that you just hope the Sharks land something. That's gonna be wow. I think I saw in the chat.
At 7, you're going to. Like, at 7, you're gonna get a player. Whether that player is gonna be ready for next year, I don't know. And I don't think that's, like, I'm not even worried about that. Like, I don't feel like they have to grab a player that's gonna play next year. It would be nice if they can grab a guy who can make the jump to the NHL next year. That's fantastic. But that's icing on the cake at 7, in my opinion. Like, if you draft a guy and he has to play another year of juniors, who cares? Right? I mean, it's not like,
it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. And it's not like they need a guy so they can make a cup run next year.
Right. No, they're
like,
yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know. Like I feel like, they're probably going to get a player, and we'll see what they do. We'll see how they draft, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of takes when that happens. But right now, I mean, I'm just excited that they're going to draft higher than they have in a number of years.
Yeah,
and they're in a good spot to grab a player. I'm not. I'm not. I don't know. This weekend I'm gonna sit down and do some real look-sees. But like I feel like this is fine. This is great.
yeah. So again, the Sharks will pick number 7th, even though I don't know why I was thinking worst case scenario at the top. The Sharks will pick number 7 in the first round of the 2021 NHL entry draft. Buffalo wins the draft. And it's keeping the spot. The only thing that really happened was a swap between Seattle and Anaheim.
Yeah.
Which,
fine by me.
Fine by us. So that will do it for here. Next thing up, big time for Sharks-wise in the offseason, besides the equipment sale this weekend, of course. But, the expansion draft. And I think the teams have to get their lists in by July 17th, and then the Kraken will get a crack at their rosters, and they'll announce their picks on the 21st. So be on the lookout for that. But looking at the comments in the chat, Kevin Lacey saying if it isn't, Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, etc., the player shouldn't be expected to make the NHL as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, and I agree. Like again, like if they grab a guy and that guy is able to make the jump year one, that's great. But it's not like I'm not going to be on here screaming my head off, first game of the season on After Dark that they didn't pick a guy that's in the game right now. This is a failure. Like, no, it's going to be fine, man. It's going to be fine.
Chivo saying, do you guys think DW has any tricks up his sleeve at the draft?
I hope so.
You think that he maybe moves down to get more picks?
You have to do something. You have to do something. I don't know. I can't believe the draft's so late this year.
Yeah, like July 23rd and 24th.
I know. I was like, really? The expansion draft's in that? When's the draft? And I'm like, holy crap! it's in the middle of July. Oh my god!
And then
all right.
And then 4 days later, we're in free agency after that.
Yeah.
Laurel's saying we need someone that fits the team and that can bring strength and speed, and we can pronounce his last name.
I guess. I mean, you're drafting like. To me, you're not drafting for next year. You're drafting for the year after that. So, I mean, yeah, you want somebody ideally you can pencil them in the line and say, okay, this is where they're going to fit at some point. But I feel like this team needs to do some things to get to that point. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say one more here from Dino Botrex. Thoughts on the Sharks picking a goalie who's been highly rated? Is that a wasted pick?
I don't like drafting goalies in the first round. I always feel like goalies you can get later in the draft. I would be really annoyed if the Sharks blew a top 10 pick on a goalie. I wouldn't like that at all. No. But yeah, I don't know. Like my philosophy is like, unless it's, that goalie to get taken in the top 10 has to be super special. And we've seen a lot of goalies that have come in and been a flash in the pan, or some guys have worked out really well, but there's a lot of guys that were highly touted and haven't done anything. Goalies are weird. I feel like you want to go for more. Like at 7, you're going to have players available that are going to be more sure things than goaltenders. And I feel like the Sharks, I understand Martin Jones sucks and he should be bought out, and the Sharks do have a question mark in that position. But again, you're not drafting to solve next year's problems. Yeah. You're you're drafting to solve the year after that. You can always grab a goalie, maybe not in the third round, because the Sharks can't make a third round pick to save their life.
Right.
But you can draft a goalie in later rounds, and it's probably a safer bet later on. That's my personal opinion. I'm sure some people will come out and tell you that, you can totally draft a goalie. To me, there's no goalie in this draft class that screams I should be taken in the top 10.
Got it. Okay. All right. So in case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again and see how crazy excited we got up until the 7th pick, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. I mean, we have interviews. We do post-game if you haven't joined us for the post-game shows after every single Sharks game. We also do, we'll be around all summer long with all kinds of content, so be on the lookout for it. But of course, you can hit us up audio-wise with SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. But just go to tealtownusa.com and we'll have everything for you there. So, all right. With that, any final thoughts, my friend?
No, not really. I mean, everything's good. Like it's fine. We didn't fall down. We stayed in the same spot. LA didn't move up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not really, this couldn't have gone. I mean, aside from moving up into one of the top 2 positions, this, as a Sharks fan, this really couldn't have gone much better, in my opinion. We'll have another Teal Tinted Glasses soon. I got to talk to the guys and figure out when we're going to do it, but it'll happen soon, and we will let you know, and we'll make sure it's advertised, and yeah, you can come watch that. We're going to obviously talk about the other 3 teams that we didn't talk about last week, as far as teams that have been eliminated and where do they go from here. Mm-hmm. I think a couple of those conversations are going to be really, really interesting, and one will probably be like, yeah, keep on keeping on. And then obviously we're going to start talking about draft, expansion draft, all that fun stuff as it approaches. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that.
Awesome. So you can find him at Ian Blogs Hockey. You can find me at PuckGuy14. Of course, follow us on the social at Tealtown USA, on the Twitter, the Instagram, and of course on the YouTube channel. I mean, we have 46 watching, 38 likes. Come on, let's get it up to 46. Heck, even 50. But do tell us a friend and help us out a bit. We appreciate each and every one of you. Again, check out for Teal Tinted Classes coming up. So most importantly, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and when you're at it, hit that notification bell. That'll notify you when we go on the air. So please be on the lookout for that. And again, thank you for watching. The Sharks get number 7. Buffalo wins the draft. Seattle gets number 2. Ducks get number 3. Appreciate each and every one of you joining us, and tell a friend. We really would appreciate it. So until then, thank you for watching. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real teal. The Chomversation continues on our Discord channel, so check us out over there, and we'll see you down the road. Take care, everyone, and go Jets.